Because he's wholehearted, he really is, and he just gets his head down.
The fans all just love Toorie, you know. He's afraid of nobody on the park.
He wears his heart on his sleeve, you know, he's very committed.
He'll go down as a Cowdenbeath legend.
I'd just been released from Raith Rovers in '94. It was actually Paddy Dolan was the manager at the time. I'd worked with Paddy at my boys' club. Paddy was my manager at Hutchison Vale before I joined Hibs. And Paddy asked me if I'd like to go to the Gothia Cup at Cowdenbeath. Taking the opportunity to go to the Gothia Cup, done well. When I came back, Paddy then offered me a contract to come to the club. My dad was born and bred Cowdenbeath, so it was always one of them that I thought, well, take the chance, take the opportunity, try and get myself into their first team and take it from there, basically. Players that I miss playing beside, I've always got on well with the big goalkeeper Neil Russell. He never really had that good of a time when he was here on winning things, etc, etc. But me and Neil always had a good bond. Gary Wood, Barry McMahon, Sammy Conn. I could honestly rattle off so many names. Keith Wright, Willie Miller when he came here. I would say that because of me being a Hibs supporter and getting to play with people that were Hibs legends and things like that. Alan Lawrence, Jimmy Boyle, John Martin, Brian Malloy. Honestly, the list's endless. It would be pointless when trying to name as many and who I'm actually miss playing with, to be honest with you. When we played against that Hearts team, there was Paul Ritchie, who I knew from playing juvenile level. I played against Paul. Paul played for a team from Glenrothes called Lomond Colts, and I was obviously a team from this side, which was Civil Service Strollers, Logelli Albert. And to play against Paul and the Hearts team at Tynecastle, they'd made a big build up to it in one of the local papers with me, because I'd had affiliations with Hibs, and it was, the build up to that game was good, but obviously the result was, we taken a bit of hiding that day, but it was good to play at Tynecastle, I must admit. It was good for that squad. It sort of brought us more together after that. Craig Levine is probably the manager that I've worked the best under, because his input and what he gave to me, basically, just the way that we had to train, what we had to eat, and the way that he handled everything off the park with you as well. I mean, he was never one for. He always liked to have his set things and what he done. That's basically why he's done so well at where he's went to and where he is now. But he's definitely probably been the manager that has had the biggest influence on. The most memorable moment has to be the game against Brecon that got us promoted. Of course, scoring the goal in the dying minutes it's always something that will stick in my head, and it's probably one of the best games I've ever played in.
He scored the goal that just clinched it in injury time. I mean, we were ahead, but Brecon were threatening to. The fact they got a goal, they were threatening to come back and win the game, and ball went up the park, and Graham Brown swung it over, and Toorie went and headed it into the net. You know, just exceptional. But he's Tourie's a fantastic guy, and a Cowdenbeath man, you know, hero really.
Just the whole thing about that weekend, the build up to the game, all the squad going away with Craig Levine and everything, staying in a hotel overnight, the way just the build up to the game, the running up to the game being delayed to let the crowd in, just the whole atmosphere and everything about that, and then of course the party after it. I mean, I still can't remember most of it after it, to be honest with you, but it was a really good time, really good, one of the best game probably that I would say it sticks in my head. Yeah, I can just remember, I think there was a cross came into the box. I remember John Martin getting the ball in his hands. I don't know. At this point, I can't remember if he threw it or if he kicked it. But I just remember Murray McDowell getting the ball on the right, and Murray McDowell was obviously making headway towards the byline. And I've just thought to myself, you need to get to the box, just go. I remember just arriving in the box, and Murray's just, I think it was about the best cross Murray's ever put in his whole career, to be honest with you. And I just remember jumping up and managing to get my head on it, and it went in. And after that, it was just a case of celebration time. That's us. We knew it was near enough the end of the game at that point. That was us. We knew we were up. It was a really hard decision, to be honest with you, to leave back when I did do it, when I left. But to be honest with you, it was a case of a club had came calling who were in the first division. Brecon had came to me. They were in the first division at the time. They came with a good offer for me, and it was I had a choice of, do I stay at Cowdenbeath and who knows what might have happened, or do I move on to a first division club at that point and try and better myself. I taken that opportunity. It worked out in the long run, but obviously I've come back. The move came about through, I must admit, Dick Campbell knows me quite well. I mean, he's been my manager he's signed me for 2 different clubs. Huge respect for the man, but we had a slight disagreement. I wasn't playing in the team. He knew I wasn't happy with not playing. He came to me and said that Danny Lennon was interested in taking me to Cowdenbeath. I said that I had unfinished business at Forfar because I was enjoying my time at Forfar, but unfortunately I would like to speak to Danny. The lure of coming back to a club that I'd spent near enough 10 years at, it was too good. It was too good an opportunity, especially a chance to move up from the 3rd division to the 2nd division at the time. I taken the chance, and it's worked out well for me, so that's just the way it goes, I suppose.
I think it was Forfar we got him from, and he's always had a connection with the football club. I think it goes away back to his late father, to be perfectly honest. So there's a great bit of history, and being a local lad, you know, there's nothing probably more gives you more pleasure than seeing your local team and you're playing a part of it.
I knew Danny well anyway, so coming back in, I'd played against Cowdenbeath, obviously through being at Forfar. I was a bit, to start with, it was one of them, would I fit in, would I not fit in? But the type of person that I am, I just try to put my personality onto people, and if they like me, if they don't, they don't. It's just one of these things that you're going to have everybody. There's going to be somebody in every changing room that sort of dislikes somebody anyway. So, Danny, I knew Danny's style. I knew the way that he liked to train, and I knew what he was looking for in his players and in his squad. So I thought long and hard when I came back, and then I'm actually glad that I made the move to come back, to be honest with you, and it's worked out well. It's pretty much a blur, to be honest with you. We started off really well, started playing really well in the first half. I think it was Gareth that scored first or Joe that scored first. I mean, I can't even remember who was that scored first, but as soon as we got the first goal, it was one of them. We knew we were on top. We knew we were on top. We knew we had to keep going, keep pressing them. And then when we got our second, then we got our, obviously, it's one of them. It's like, by the way, we're going to win this. And then even after, when the final whistles went, and obviously there's a pitch invasion, and I lost my boots. Somebody stole my boots off me, and it was brilliant. Especially coming back to the club where I spent so much of my career to get a promotion. It's the first ever time I'd ever played in a playoff. It's the first time I've ever been in the playoffs, so it was special, really special. We've just basically got to get on with it, but it was a huge loss for losing the gaffer at the time, Danny, Ian Jenkins, Gareth, Darren, Paul. Basically, it was sad to see them go, but all the best to them because they're doing well at St Mirren. Cool. Moving back into the defence, but the manager had asked me on our way to pre-season to Northern Ireland if I'd played there before. I said I had at Dumbarton a couple of third division games, but nothing like obviously at the level that we're playing at the moment in the first division. And he said to me that he was going to try me in at centre half when we went to play Ballymena in Northern Ireland. So it sort of came about from then. I've basically been playing there all season because of the injuries to Joe and Chopper. So I find as though I get a little bit more, I can see the game more at the back than what you can in midfield, but I've had to learn basically, I've learned a couple of harsh lessons this season already by getting too close to forwards, etc. Whereas as I said, a midfield player, you've always got that assurance of somebody being behind you, but I think I'm getting there, and I hope hopefully some of my performances this year is people have said, by the way, I'm doing a decent job.
He's done great at centre half. I know he's a midfielder. He's done great at centre half because John Armstrong to start and Joe Mabu and all, and he's a good lad. I think he's going to end up centre half. He's in the middle of the park, I think so. I don't know. We'll find out, but he's another good lad about the place.
He's been a great servant to the club, and he's been a stalwart in the team for us this season so far, and hopefully he's like that for the rest of the season.
I didn't think I could get about the park as well as I could. I am liking it in the defence, but there's always something in you want to be in the midfield and in the engine room. This is going to sound a bit bad, but you always like to get in about and hassle folk and give them a bit of a kick. Tell you, off the pitch I'm an approachable person, and I'm not an aggressive person off the pitch, and it's something that when I cross that white line on a Saturday, I've always, even from when I was younger, you can be the best of friends off the pitch, but as soon as you cross that white line, they're your mortal enemy. And it's one of them, I'm going to make sure that I get one over on you. If that means that it's going to be a 50-50 challenge and I'm going to have to make sure I get the ball, then I'm running through a brick wall to make sure I get that ball, basically. And it's just something that's I've always been told. I've always been told never ever to back out a tackle, because you could get yourself up. It's just something that's always been instilled in me from when I was young. There's not many people know this, but if you ever watch me going on a park, especially if the tunnel bit's right on the halfway line, if we are going onto the park and we are going to the right hand side, I've always got this silly superstition thing in my head where I'll always have to put my right foot into that half first, then my left one, and then my right one, and then go to my right, vice versa if we're going out and we're going to the left. And it's just something that I've always done. And there's only really a couple of people in the whole planet that actually know that I do this, and one's my mother and the other one's my wife, so everybody knows, unfortunately. I'll be honest with you, when I was younger in my youth days, I always used to love wearing number 9. That's basically because I was a forward when I played juvenile football. Since I turned senior, in my first spell at Cowdenbeath, I always used to like number 7. But I've got a preference now, it's always number 4. I always like to wear number 4. And I don't know what it is, it's just I like wearing number 4. It's just this something something about the number 4 that I like. I don't know why. I'll be honest with you. I would love to. I'd love to get back in. I was helping out a wee while ago with the Cowdenbeath youths. Unfortunately, at that point, my wife had our first baby, and it came too much. But I'd really like to get back into it. If it's going to be at the end of my playing days, then I would love that. But to be honest with you, I'd like to get more involved in coaching stuff and coaching the youths and that, especially at the club, especially at Cowdenbeath, because I think we've got a good setup with our youths. I'd really like to get back into it and helping out with a lot of the youth teams at the club. See, I've got 2 or 3. I like Coach Carter. At the moment, because obviously my wee boy, it's one of them. He's into his Transformer films, so I've been constantly watching both the Transformers films with my wee boy, and they're not too bad. But anything sort of gangster related film or Godfather, things like that, I like a lot of all different stuff. Different music as well. A lot of the boys in the team didn't like my music, unfortunately.
What's your music?
I like sort of rock music and some heavy metal stuff.
Your favourite band?
I better say Iron Maiden from my wife's point of view now. We were supposed to be going to see Iron Maiden soon, but my wife's pregnant, so unfortunately we're not going to be able to go and see them. So that's just one of them. I'd like to spend as much time as I can with my wee boy and my wife. If it's going out with my wee boy and playing football with him or getting him involved in football, then that's what we try to do. But most of my time spent with my wife and my wee boy. My favourite players, past and present. Well, past was Michel Platini. Genius, absolute genius. And my favourite player of present time, unfortunately he's now retired, was Zinedine Zidane. Both French number 10s, both geniuses, guys at work. At the precise moment, on a playing point of view, I love watching Barcelona. I was fortunate enough to go to the new camp and see them playing recently, and they're fantastic. Messi is unbelievable. Xavi's going to be probably one of the best players ever on the planet for a midfield player. They're just such a good team to watch. For a player, for a role model, it would have to be Norrie McCarthy. A gentleman off the park, very good player on the park. Sad loss to everybody when he died, but Norrie McCarthy was, as a role model, as someone for me, seeing him in his days at Dunfermline. Of course, he moved from Cowdenbeath to Dunfermline anyway. And I knew him as well. I knew him as a small kid when I was growing up through the youth system at Dunfermline and as an S form, and then as I progressed later into going and playing with Hibs. Sad loss, but definitely much a role model in my eyes for me. Biggest influence on my football career has to have been my dad when he was alive. My biggest fan, biggest critic as well. Hardly ever missed a game. Up until he had his illness, he hardly ever missed a game, and he used to, every game, if I thought I'd played well, my dad always used to tell me exactly what he thought of me in the games. If I thought I'd done well, he always thought that I'd done bad, basically. And it was like a psychology thing with me to try and get me to do that little bit extra when I was playing. And it was just the way he was, and he's sorely missed now, but I've got other people that come to the game and try and do it, but it's just not the same. My dad was born in Cowdenbeath and used to go and play football down in Watson Street, and it was a really cold night, and he was out playing football with his friends, and he had a hat on, and someone said to him, "You realise you've got a Toorie on your hat?" And my dad was like, "No, I never realised," and it sort of stuck with my dad from that day. And then there was a guy at East End Park who was the secretary, I think, called Jimmy McConville. It was him that first started calling me Wee Toorie, and it's just basically stuck from there.
Because he's wholehearted, he really is, and he just gets a head down. He's over the top sometimes, when he gets annoyed with opposition and the referees and everything. And if Toorie makes any mistakes, they're all honest mistakes, you know. You can always say that about him, but he's a great lad about the place, and you know, he's done really well for us as centre half, and there's no reason to suggest that he won't be playing there for a long time.
I mean, Tourie's been one of the great servants for Cowdenbeath, and he's almost synonymous with Cowdenbeath, like some of the people in the past, like Big Ming, people like that. It's of that kind of stature in the club, with so many appearances, and he's always one of these guys who battles the whole game. You know, loves the club, the fans love him, and he always gives you 100%. He sometimes had a wee problem about getting sent off from time to time and sitting in the stand. But I mean, what a fantastic servant he's been to Cowdenbeath, and it's really great that he came back again to Cowdenbeath this last spell. To come back home, really, and he's been at different clubs. He's done well. He's played at a higher level, that kind of thing. But now for Toorie back with Cowdenbeath in the first division is great. It's like kind of full circle, and it's so good that he's part of that.
Craigie Winters is a player I knew way back when both of us first sort of started playing, because he was at Raith Rovers as a kid when I was slightly older than him, not too much older than him, because he likes to get that one in training. But you know, it's great to see that kind of loyalty, because in this day and age they're few and far between, you know. So I know he's a fan's favourite, and like I say, I think most fans look for is players that give 110%, you know, in games, and if they do that, then they'll support them, and Craig's certainly one of these players.
He'll go down as a Cowdenbeath legend, a great character, a great professional at that level, to be perfectly honest, and a very upbeat guy. I've never known a guy that knows as many people anywhere that we go, and he's you never get him any other way. You know, he's always got a nice smile and that upon his face, and he's always got a wee story in that to tell you. But he done a great job for us, and long may he continue to do so. I certainly see him. At some stage going into coaching. I know he always had an interest in that, and I'd be very surprised if it's not Cowdenbeath Football Club.
I've loved my full time that I've had at Cowdenbeath, and I'm having at Cowdenbeath. As I say, my dad's family were born and bred Cowdenbeath, so Cowdenbeath means a lot to myself and to my family, and it's just been so far, and hopefully in the years to come it's been a pleasure playing for them, and long may it continue.